Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, again, we are requesting consideration to approve a junior bill agreement from Department of Finance and Administration to contract for sexual assault nurse examiner and child advocacy services in Valencia, Socorro, Catron, and Torrance counties in the amount of $25,000. So I wanted to give you a quick history of what took place with this particular appropriation. So in early May, I received a phone call from DFA asking if we were the recipients of $100,000 to contract for sexual assault nurse examiners. And I contacted Manager Bonet and Warden Gutierrez about it, and they had no idea. So I relayed that information to DFA. They then informed me that the $100,000 would be divvied up amongst the 4 counties that were indicated in the original language. So ultimately, that's what happened. And 2 days after we made that decision, we were in contact with Valencia Shelter Services, and they were in fact some of the driving force behind this legislation request for funding. So with that said, I have Ms. Stephanie Wood and some of the team members from Valencia Shelter Services just to identify for you all on how this anticipated funding is going to be utilized.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for letting me speak today. I wanted to give a bite-size, a little bit about what we do, and I will let the team members here with me talk a little bit more in depth. The junior bill appropriation we were successful in getting this year was moved into the 4 counties. The whole request was for $100,000 for our SANE unit that provides sexual assault nurse examination for victims of sexual assault, child abuse, and domestic violence. I'm here today to ask that that appropriation be provided to Valencia Shelter Services, who has been in action with victim services since 1989 for over 30 years. The team can give you more in depth of what it is that we provide, and I can stand for any questions after that.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sandy Martinez, and I'm the Director of Forensic Services for Valencia Shelter Services. So I oversee the SANE program and the Child Advocacy Center Forensic Interview Program. We work well with all of our community partners, law enforcement, CYFD, medical professionals, mental health professionals, the DA's office, and some advocates in this county. We serve Valencia, Socorro, Torrance, and Catron County. So our newest service is our SANE unit. So SANE stands for Sexual Assault Nurse Examiners. And we partner with Albuquerque SANE Collaborative. This is Yolanda Aragon. She's our SANE nurse from Albuquerque SANE Collaborative that comes down, and she's our main VSS nurse right now. As VSS advocates, we provide the advocacy services during those SANE exams. And so we serve all of those rural counties, which we saw the need to have something closer to home for our survivors to be able to make it to a SANE exam if they need one. Traveling and transportation was the main issue. So that's why we saw that need, and we worked with them to open it up. We have a couple of years to make it our own SANE unit. So it's kind of a transition from a satellite for Albuquerque SANE to a VSS SANE. So we'll be hiring our own medical directors and nurses and things in a few years. So we provide exams for sexual assault, so acute exams. So if anybody has been sexually assaulted recently, within 5 days for an adult, 3 days for a child, we can do a sexual assault evidence kit, DNA evidence, and we release that evidence to law enforcement, who then takes it to be tested for DNA. We also provide exams for domestic violence injuries. So if they have any injuries on their body, our nurse can examine them and take photos, and they also testify in court on behalf of our victims. I know it mentions child advocacy, so we do provide forensic interviews for children in child abuse investigations. So we work well with law enforcement, CYFD, and we interview the kids and they observe in a different room to provide a safe and child-friendly environment for children. And our advocates work with families during all of those services, and they offer all of the services we have. And they also give them resources. We can provide hotel rooms with funds. We can provide phones if they need a phone. We can provide clothes, hygiene items, all sorts of things. We also help our victims complete a CVRC application so they can access funds through whatever their victimization is through that. Would you like to?
In addition to, we do pediatrics to elderly, as she had mentioned, but one thing we also do provide is we provide medications for any sexually transmitted diseases. We give it prophylactics so that hopefully they don't come up with anything. We also provide emergency pregnancy prevention. So aside from all of our exams that we do provide that medical care as well.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for letting us speak today. I did want to add a couple of points. Prior to Valencia Shelter Services taking this initiative, survivors in our community would have to travel up to 2 hours to seek this medical service. That is an immense amount of time for individuals who have been traumatized, as well as lack of resources. Some of the families that would go to these same medical units would have to decide between groceries or gas that week in order to seek service. The other item is that we believe that when we can support survivors in this way, that when we can see them through the criminal justice system, that they will be better for it. And we can hold offenders accountable in our community, perpetrators that can create a safety net for us in this community. And so that was the initiative as to why we brought this same unit to our offices. We were unfunded for a full year before we even stopped funding. We, prior fiscal year, received another junior bill funding through the Crime Victims Reparation Commission, but it was unfortunately a one-time fund. And the funding that we are asking for in the 25,000 and part of the whole will allow us to provide an advocate that supports a survivor through the whole exam and will follow up in court hearings so that they never have to go and walk through this alone. Additionally, that funding will provide the basic needs items that survivors need. Be that food, be that clothing, any of the basic amenities. And we can also provide emergency shelter to those who have no place to go. So this funding really does impact our community greatly. And so thank you for letting us speak today.
Good. You know, a couple months ago or thereabouts, I was invited to tour your facility. Your director, I can't remember her name, I'm sorry. Vicky, yes. And you know, it's incredible what you guys do there. Never knew about it, or to that extent. You know, on one hand, it's very unfortunate that we have to have you in our community, but in the other hand, it's very fortunate that we do have you, because you guys do provide a lot of services that are definitely needed. So, big shout out to you guys and thank you for all you do. Questions, commissioners, comments, anything else?
Mr. Chair,
Please.
what I would like to see, and I mean, I don't speak for the whole commission, but before January, maybe you guys could come back before the commission, and I would love to sponsor and do a resolution showing Valencia County support for you guys. That way you can take it up to the roundhouse and let them know that the counties do support you and what you do. So I would love to sponsor you guys and have you come back before and do a resolution to where we do support you guys.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, thank you so much for that. We would greatly appreciate it. And yes, we're here to serve this community. We're very passionate about it.
But we
Please.
also do a really big thing now, and I want it because of the movie that came out, but we also, when we do have our domestic violence victims, we assess for trafficking, which we see a lot of, unfortunately. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We really need to get that purple out there during that time. We need to let our community know that we're there for them and it's okay to step up and come out, and we need to make them feel safe. And Sexual Awareness Month is April. We have our teal colors. We need to really get out there, start decorating and start letting the community know we need to start talking about it instead of just keeping it behind closed doors. So we want them to know there's a safe place to go.
Thank you. Anything else, commissioners? Okay, Jeremias, is there anything else from you that you need to add to this?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I just wanted to make note, upon full execution of this agreement from DFA, we will have an MOU established between the county and Valencia Shelter Services, just so we can identify how the funds are going to be controlled, and we can establish a payment schedule. And that'll be discussed with legal at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Anything else, commissioners? If not, is there a recommendation?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion or the second? There be none. Commissioner Bazell, your vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Ergon, your vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes, as approved. Thank you.